What's up everyone, Lion Roar here, and in this video I'm going to show you my take on Frenzied Aggro War for the weekend ranked event, and this deck can seemingly do everything from go wide, to go tall, to board wipe, to just deal burn damage straight to the face. So of course I'm going to do a deck guide and then play a ranked match for you. The goal of Frenzied Aggro War is to put down a creature or two, protect them, and then buff them so big that your opponent can't deal with the incoming damage. Of course, you can't play a deck like this unless you've downloaded the game, so if you haven't done that yet, use the link in the description of this video and my referral code to get a few free packs, and that'll help you get started. Alright, let's dive in and take a look at this deck. A lot of these cards are going to look really familiar if you've played Frenzied Aggro War or you've played against it, but I did make some different card choices and I'm going to explain those. Now, one card you're going to see in almost every war deck is this Boil Blood Outlaw, because it's a 1-mana 2/2 whose strength grows every time it attacks, and this is almost always a must-kill type of card, or it could get out of hand, and since most people kill it, it usually doesn't survive, but oftentimes that's soaking up your opponent's removal spells, which is really good because we're going to play a lot of protected creatures, and often you have to 2-for-1 your opponent with removal for them to be able to take care of your board. So this actually helps a lot. A little underrated type of card in this deck in protecting your other creatures. Now, also at the 1-mana spot, we have Tribal Orc, which is not typically one you're going to play on the first turn. In fact, in this deck, you're almost always playing 2-mana spells on the first turn, using your gem to do that. And the beginning of the game really hinges around the 2-mana stuff. But this is great for coming down on turn 3, potentially, when you have like 2 mana to spend on another 2-mana spell, and potentially this one to give it a little buff, because it says Roar. If you control 2 other creatures, this creature gets +1 strength. But hey, if you have nothing else to play, it's great to come down on the first turn too. We also have a Fun of Wiccan Trapper, a Fun of being 1. We don't have 2 of this because it is not super synergistic with the rest of the deck, but I think we do need to have relic removal in this, especially for the zombie death deck. So it says Roar, remove 1 durability from your opponent's relic. This is one you don't have to have in your deck, or you can make any other number of choices that go along with this, but I have one just to help with all the relics running around out there. Now, one of the first differences with my deck compared to other people's Frenzied Aggro War decks is this Pyramid Warden. 2-mana 2/6 with Frontline, and Afterlife, your opponent summons a random creature from their void. Now, you already heard me say that the purpose of this deck is to put something down on turn 1 that costs 2 mana, protect your creatures, and then buff them, right? Well, Pyramid Warden is a fantastic creature to put down on turn 1 if you don't have the Enduring Shield to play, because you can put the other little creatures behind it, and then they, being your opponent, has to attack the Pyramid Warden first, protecting your other things for the big buffs that are about to come. Now, if they kill Pyramid Warden without one of their creatures dying, or they trade one of their creatures with this, well, they don't get the benefit of getting a creature out of their void. So I love seeing something like this in one of my opening hands. Soaks up a lot of damages, protects your other creatures, and sets it up for just a really big turn with the buff spells. Now let's jump over and see some of the other 2-mana spells we have in this deck. So we have 2-mana 2/4 Warmonger Smith, and this is actually part of probably the ideal strategy in this deck, along with Enduring Shield, which is a 2-mana 1/2 relic. Now, let me talk about Enduring Shield first, because actually this is the thing you want to play on the very first turn of the game if you can. In fact, dig for this card. Try to get this one in your opening hand. It says, when you attack with this relic, give protected your strongest creature without protected. I think the best follow-up to playing this card on turn 1 is the Warmonger Smith, which says Roar, give your relic +1 strength for its next attack. Now, you have an Enduring Shield that has 2 strength and a protected Warmonger Smith potentially. These 2 cards are extremely synergistic, because now the Enduring Shield is going to protect that Warmonger Smith and potentially be removing one of their creatures. There's a ton on the first turn or 2 of the game that have 2 toughness, right? So this is going to help deal with the board and protect a creature for some of that bigger stuff to come. Some of the other creatures early in the game that go along with the strategy are Tavern Brawler. You can often 2-for-1 your opponent. It's a little better than Vanguard Axewoman, even though it costs 1 more mana. It's a 2-mana 2/3 with Blitz, and this is also a candidate for potentially growing into something too big for your opponent to deal with. Valka's Captain has a lot of synergy through how often you are frenzied, especially because of the god power. You have to deal 2 damage to your opponent's god. And if you do, it says Roar, equip a 1/1 barbed hook, and if you're frenzied, give it +1 strength. And of course, if you got Warmonger Smith and it hasn't pumped up your Enduring Shield, well, it can pump this up. A 3/1 barbed hook is great for getting rid of one of their creatures or just dealing 3 damage straight to the opponent's face. We also have the Blade of Sticks. More synergy with Warmonger Smith as a 3-mana 3/2 God Blitz relic, so it can come down and attack anything, including your opponent's god, right away. This is a great way to finish off a game if you've gotten their health all the way down and you just need a few more points of damage. Or, hey, if you use the Warmonger Smith and give it 4 strength, of course, that's going to be good for removing pretty much any creature you need to deal with, and also just, damage to the god's face. Now, we also have a fun of Odie, Valka's Herald in this deck because you can only have 1 legendary, of course. But it's a 3-mana 3/2 with Protected, but also says when this creature attacks your opponent's god, reduce the random highest mana cost creature in your hand by 1. So if you can start hitting with Odie, which you often can, because at this point, when this is coming down, they've probably used almost all the removal they have, or they've got like just a little bit left and they just can't quite get rid of Odie, and now he's speeding up the rest of your hand. And hey, if you can keep using the Enduring Shield with Odie for repeated protection, that's just all the more better. We have a 3-mana 3/2 Raid Reveler here with Protected, so kind of like Odie here, but of course doesn't come with the benefit of reducing the cost of anything else, but another tough to deal with creature that you can eventually pump up. And speaking of pump up, another round is our first sort of end game spell. 4 mana, give a friendly creature +3/+3, and at the end of your turn, if you're frenzied, give a random creature in your hand +1. As you can tell, it's going to take all these early creatures that have been protected and make them big fast. Oftentimes, this kind of pump spell can keep your creature out of your opponent's burn range as well, so that they tend to live and you can grow them even bigger. Now, Archangel Bruiser is a 4-mana 5/2 creature. However, I want you to think of this one as removal. It can often 2 for 1 or 3 for 1 or 4 for 1 or even 5 for 1 your opponent's creatures, and then also just sneak damage through to the opposing god. The ideal way to use this is to have an Enduring Shield down, play this after you've become frenzied so that it gets the overkill, because it says Roar. If you're frenzied, give overkill to this creature. Then you want to give this Protected, because 2 health is not a lot, and of course this is probably going to die in most cases, but if it has Protected, it can deal damage to, like, let's say a small opposing creature, and then overkill that creature and potentially wipe what the other creatures are on the board, or just deal damage to the face and live to do it again on the next turn, which is fantastic. Orcish Elite is also a type of removal that comes down at 5 mana. It's a 3/6 with Blitz and Twin Strike, and you're almost always 2 for 1ing your opponent with this, and hopefully even 3 for 1, because depending on how much strength the opposing creatures have, this might still be alive after it kills 2 creatures. Red Fume Serum, just an amazing end game type of spell. Give a friendly creature +5/+5 and burn. That burn +1 is a downside, but you don't often see that really mattering all that much, because, hey, yeah, I'll take +5/+5 on a creature. It's only going to take like 2 turns, maybe 3 at most, to really kill the opponent off with something like that. And then lastly, we have on the war side, we do have 1 card after this, but on the war side, we have Soul Survivor, which is a board wipe card. Give +3 strength to one of your creatures and then deal its strength as damage to each other creature. So of course, you're going to want to attack with the creatures that you have left first, leaving 1 alive that should have probably the highest strength of all of your creatures. Now, there are some times when you might not want to do that, because you could actually leave a couple of your creatures alive, but in a lot of cases, you're going to put this on the creature that you have that has the most strength, and then wipe the board, attack with that last creature. You're going to deal a ton of damage, basically be at parity on the board and a little bit ahead, and that's just extremely difficult for your opponent to deal with. This is usually a game-winning type of card. You can actually be way behind in a match, and this will just put you ahead immediately. Lastly, another difference with this deck as compared to what most Frenzied War aggro players play is Theban Elephant. and it comes down at 7 mana. It's a 5/5 and says backline at the end of your turn, give +1/+1 to each of your creatures. That includes itself. So this is really a 7 mana 6/6 that's also pumping the rest of your team. At the end of a game, if you're up at 7 mana, and this happens quite a bit with this particular deck, now every creature that you draw is not just, 1 mana 2/2s and 3 mana 3/2s and stuff like that. They're going to be growing, and they're still going to be protected. And if you add on top of it any of the other pump spells that you draw, this will end a game pretty quickly. All right, so that's my take on Frenzied Aggro War, and if you're interested in playing this, I'll put a link to this deck in the description of this video, and you can just click copy deck code over here and paste it into your game and play. So let's dive in now and see how this deck performs. Ooh, this is like not a great hand to start with. That's okay. Pyramid Warden. We could try to do Pyramid Warden, and I just want to try and get something else here, like Enduring Shield.
Good luck. Best of luck.
That's all right. Pyramid Warden into Odie's pretty good.
Get ready.
Oh, even better. On this next turn, we can protect the Pyramid Warden.
To arms.
It's really hard for my opponent to get rid of this with the 6 health and protected. Of course, that's a pain for me to get rid of. So it all evens out, I guess. I guess I could attack. Let's just make life hard. They'll both have protected. Now he has to use burn spells on them if he wants to try and get rid of protected, and then this right now with the spell boost 1, it doesn't really matter as long as I have protected. Okay, well that's one way to kind of deal with it.
At last.
Oh, interesting. Soul Survivor. That's going to be cool. Master Tactician can flank here. So that's 2. Yeah, we'll go with that. I could just do this to do it. Because they all have flank now. And we'll put out this Raid Reveler. And, you know, why not? The Spoil Blood Outlaw. Now I have 3 protected creatures, so that's tough for him. Okay. Mm-hmm. Doesn't do the effect again.
To arms.
If I have to, I could just do this to do it. Okay. Well, that's one way to kind of deal with it. If I have to, I could just do this to do it. If I have to, I could just do this to do it. Okay. If I have to, I could just do this to do it. Okay. If I have to, can play Soul Survivor on the next turn. Two, 3, 4, 5. I don't love what's going on here.
I'm running out of time. The battle rages on.
Let's maybe do this just to get the Theban Elephant to go down. Maybe we can Theban Elephant into Soul Survivor? I don't know. But it's gonna be easy for him to kill my Odie now. But at least the Theban Elephant is 6 mana. So once I can get up to 6 mana, I'm fine. Yeah. Let's hope and pray this Theban Elephant stays alive. They have 6 mana and probably a lot of burn because that's what that deck plays. Lots of cards here. Ooh. This is cool. Alright. I'm gonna leave the Sanctum the way it is for now. There's a burn spell here. So I could potentially hit them and deal 4 damage worth of burn.
Get ready.
Well. Let's just put a ton of creatures out. Can this thing attack? Frontline can't attack. And if I hit this right now, these creatures will get bigger. It can't attack though, so there's no reason to do that. Might as well just let my creatures get bigger. So my plan is for the next turn to hopefully give the Theban Elephant protected. And see, that's actually what I was hoping for. Okay. 5, 6. And now we can put out the Orcish Elite, Boil Blood Outlaw, and pass.
I value my personal space beyond all else.
Does he have another tornado? Inferno, I guess, is what it's called.
Nothing like the sweet scent of rotting flesh.
Okay. Can you get rid of my other creatures with 3 mana? Do you see why I didn't hit, like a few turns ago, do you see why I didn't hit the Labyrinth Guard Because I thought he might have something like Inferno in hand, in which case I needed to keep that alive. I wonder if this, because it has order, I can't hit it, right? Yeah.
That is not possible.
Not possible. Let's go ahead and buy the direct damage spell. And pass.
The cosmic scales must
And then,
be kept
really,
in
if he
balance.
passes the turn back to me, I just win. Yep. Well, there you have it. This deck is super fun. It's really versatile and very powerful. So if you want to play it, remember, you can just copy the deck code, paste it into your game, play it. Please let me know in the comments how you feel about this particular deck or what changes you would make to it. And if you haven't already, please consider liking, subscribing, and hitting that bell notification so you know when I drop new videos or go live. And I will catch you in the next one.